Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. It is Sunday night, January 2019. And I want to talk to you about an article I ran across in a website, a blog actually, michaelfaust.com, if you'd like to go and check it out. He's talking about kindergartners and other elementary age students in the California public schools, and how they will be taught to reject gender stereotypes such as clothing, colors, toys, and begin to accept transgenderism as normative if the proposed guidelines are approved there at the State House or wherever. And should that happen, there would be no opt-out possibility for parents. One recommended book in the guidelines tells the story of a boy who wanted to be a princess. Another recommended book teaches students there are at least 15 genders. You didn't know that, did you? The same book also tells children it's impossible to know if a baby is a boy or a girl. Apparently the external indicators aren't sufficient. The guidelines are part of the California Department of Education's proposed health education framework. A lady by the name of Brenda Lebsack at a website called edsource.org is a member of the Orange Unified School District Board of Education in Orange County. She talks about all of these things. She says that coming down the pike are discussions of gender with kindergartners, 4, 5, 6-year-old children, including the exploration of gender stereotypes, such as asking open-ended questions. What are preferred colors? What are your preferred toys? What are the preferred activities for boys, girls? And then challenging the stereotypes that present themselves. In Chapter 3, there's a proposed of these proposed guidelines. It says, quote, throughout this discussion, show images of children around the same age who do not conform to typical gender stereotypes. Examples do not have to be exaggerated or overt. Simple differences, such as colors, toy preferences, can demonstrate acceptance of gender nonconformity. Yeah? You ever have any children? You ever have young boys that like to play with dolls because their sister does? You ever have girls that are just not interested in dolls after the first couple years? Does that mean that they're not really girls or they're not really boys? Or is this developmental stuff? Goes on to say, while students may not fully understand the concepts of gender expression and identity, some children in kindergarten and even younger have identified as transgender, or understand that they have gender identity that's different from their sex assignment at birth. It might present itself in different ways, including dress, activity preferences, experimenting with dramatic play, feeling uncomfortable, self-identifying with their sex assigned at birth. I know children like that. I know great older adults like that. And they're not homosexual and they're not opposite gender. They're just like that. They're just sensitive people. And they like this. No problem. But one recommended children's book in these guidelines is a story called My Princess Boy. It's written by Cheryl Kiladavis. The guidelines call it, and quote, an age-appropriate book that can be used to demonstrate gender differences and inclusion. Another book is Who Are You? The Kid's Guide to Gender Identity, authored by somebody called Brooke Penson Wedby. It's a colorful book, defines gender as boy, girl, both, neither, transgender, queer, binary, gender fluid, transgender, gender neutral, agender, bigender, third gender, two-spirit. Altogether, 15 possible genders are listed in this book. The book says parents don't know if a baby's a boy or girl at birth, and that's because they can't talk. So grown-ups have to guess by looking at their bodies. California last revamped its health education framework in 2002. The State Board of Education will now consider adopting the new framework this May 2019. The woman went on to say this framework will potentially have more impact on parent schools and our culture in general than any other adopted in the past. Oh, and parents will not have the opportunity to opt out. Their children will have to take these classes. That's because unlike sexual health education, which has an opt-out issue, materials that discuss gender, sexual orientation, or family life are considered normative education. Unless it's outside the realm of normative education, apparently, you got to take the course. Al Mohler, who's president of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, said parents likely will be considered more the problem than any kind of a solution in the debate over this proposal. He went on to say there are many who argue that the role of public schools is to correct the religious prejudices that children are likely to encounter in their homes. Parents in California and elsewhere cannot say you were not warned. This from ChristianHeadlines.com.